Welcome to week 2, lesson 4 of the Store Manager Academy. I'm Stephen Farrell. I'll be taking you through today's lesson. We're going to be talking about front end management and why it can make or break your store. Now, most of you that are watching this training have some sort of front entrance where your customers are greeted and where they are exited after they complete their purchase. And so it's really vital, it's really important that you have the best front end management and team up there that's going to execute for you. Remember, the front entrance of your store is the first and last impression of your business. You can provide the most excellent customer service out on the sales floor, but if they have a horrible experience walking out the door, they forget about all the good things that happened in your store, and you lose that customer for a lifetime. And that is why your front counter, your front end of your store is so vital to the success of your business, to the success of providing great customer service. I call your front end, your front counter, front end people, right? People that work on the front end. Most of you watching this training, you have some sort of cash register or checkout process at the front of your store. So this message is for you, and it's applicable for anybody else that has some sort of entrance and exit where there's a point of sale. Now, your people at the front counter need to greet your customers. I don't care where they are in the store. If they see a customer coming in, they need to welcome them. Now, it might be difficult in the larger big box stores. If you're one of those managers, you already have somebody that's greeting customers. But for everyone else, it's in the medium size or small box stores, chances are you've got an entrance with a front counter right there, and then you've got an exit. And the front counter is in the middle between the two. And so it's absolutely vital that your team is greeting customers as they come in and thanking them for their business as they walk out. It's that simple, right? Well, there's a lot more to it. Number one, you need to find people that fit your brand, fit your culture. We had a earlier lesson on store culture. The people you hire fit that culture. Do they look that culture? Do they attribute those values? Do they live those values and beliefs that are in your culture? Are you creating an upbeat, or is that team creating an upbeat environment? That's step number 2. So when the customer comes in, is it upbeat? Does it feel good? Do they when they get greeted, does it feel genuine? Like, hey, welcome to XYZ store. We're so glad you came in. What can we help you find? Or what can we do for you? It's real simple. It's nice and friendly. Some customers don't want to be helped when they walk in, right? They just want to walk around and check things out and enjoy the experience. That's okay too. But be sure you greet your customers at the front door. Now, the next step to this process is getting customers the assistance that they need. So if you say, how can we help you today? Or welcome to XYZ store. And the customer says, hey, yes, I need help with this. Wonderful. Let me get the right person for you. Hold on one second. Get your team to get on the intercom or the walkie or whatever kind of system you have in place. You call over the associate and make sure they walk up to the customer. Never send your customer out to the sales floor like cattle. Even though you're at the front and you probably can't leave the front, your team can't leave the front. Some of them can and should, but the majority of you have people that are designated for the front that cannot leave. So they need to go above and beyond. Don't send the customer out like cattle. Yeah, go to aisle 11 and they'll help you there. No, you get the person from that department to come up, or a person from another department if that person's busy, or any random associate if you need to. Get them to come up and greet the customer and walk them over to aisle 11, and then that gives that associate the proper time to build up a rapport with that customer and truly to find out why that customer got dressed that day, got in their car, and drove to your store. They came there for a reason. That is the time you're going to find out. That personal walking time, even though it's a minute or two, you want your team to develop rapport with that customer to make sure you guys can fully execute and help that customer get everything they need Everything that complements and completes that purchase for them. Now, so they get help on the sales floor, and then they come to check out. Perception is everything. If you have long lines, that is going to really upset many customers. I can't tell you how many times I was shopping. I spent maybe 45 minutes, looking for everything that I needed. I go up and there's a huge line, and I'm like, I'm literally going to spend the same amount of time in the line as I did out on the floor, and I could probably save more time going across the street to the competitor because they're less busy, and I could get it in less time than sitting in this line. Perception is everything. How many times have you seen abandoned product by your registers? Have you ever wondered why? Well, there's two reasons. One, they didn't want it, or two, your lines were too long. And the majority of the time, it's because your lines were too long. So make sure you have line management executed properly. You have the systems in place. When you have more than 3 people in line, we call 3 is a crowd, right? 3 is a crowd. If a third person walks in line, that person should be who's on the register calling for assistance. All hands on deck, taking care of the customers. I don't know why so many businesses get this wrong. Your customers have your product in hand, and they're ready to give you money for it, and you're gonna make them wait to give you their money. Why would you make anybody wait to give you money? If I was gonna say, hey, I've got $1,000 for you, would you say, wait, hold on, I'm too busy for that $1,000, come back later? You would never do that. So why would you do that to your customers? There is literally no difference. Just because the $1,000 isn't going in your pocket, it is going to your business. And that business is distributing that profit to you and your team. So don't make your customers wait to give you money. It's simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Steven, I got labor constraints. I know, I understand. I've lived through those labor constraints. You need to build a process in place, which we'll talk about in another training, of how you get all hands on deck to shift from one area of the store to the other and back and forth. If you get everyone to work into one team, not just in departments, you will succeed, especially with line management. So that's part of front-end management. Now, when they're at the register, you obviously have another opportunity to sell them one item, maybe 2. You have the opportunity to maximize on that purchase. Get an email. Emails are what's called a sales distribution channel. You wonder why customers return to the store? It's not just because of the great service. That's part of it. But it's because hopefully you have a marketing team that's marketing to those customers every single day. They're marketing based on their behaviors, on their habits, on their purchases, their demographics, and they're sending them advertisements and coupons that they think they're going to use. It is the lifeblood of any business, collecting emails. So if your team isn't doing a good job at that, you've got to change their mentality, because that is the lifeblood of your business. Especially in today's world, they say if a customer doesn't see your branding at least once every 6 days, you fall off the top of their mind completely for that product. So when they have a product that you sell, when they need a product that you sell, if you haven't been in front of them once every 6 days, your competitor is probably in front of them, and that's where they're going. Doesn't matter how great of a service you gave them back in the past. If you're not marketing to them, they're not coming in your store. They're not. I can promise you that. So again, this is the last point of contact for the customer with your brand. In most cases, some of you do delivery and things like that, so that's actually the last point of contact. But in many retailers, the checkout's the last point of contact, person-to-person contact. So you want to make sure you suggest a complimentary item, soda, candy, subscription, email, whatever your company's focused on. Make sure there's a script in place, it's executed, and your team is having fun. You've got to have bubbly people, the front counter, people that are outgoing. You've got to have people that can handle pressure. When an upset customer's up there, they need to know how to diffuse any situation, and they need to know a good customer from a customer that needs to be fired. You've got to teach that. All right? Now, once they've suggested an item, once they've got the email, they thank the customer for their purchase, and they invite them to come back. They give them a reason to come back in. Hey, don't forget, We've got X product coming out next week. We'd love to see you. Come back, John. Always have your team address their customers by name. I know some names are hard to pronounce, but that doesn't mean you don't say the name of your customers at all just because you can't pronounce a couple. Greet them, thank them for their business, thank them by their name, and give them a reason to return. That's front-end management in a nutshell. Now, you as a manager, you have a lot more control over that front end than you think you do. And if you don't have control over your front counter, over your front end, it can really hurt your business. If your team is not upselling at the register, if they're not greeting customers, if they're not thanking them by their name, if they're not giving them a reason to return, you're losing chunks of your business every single time they don't do one of those things. You're losing a customer. I can guarantee you're losing at least one customer per day because of your front end. And I can guarantee you're gaining one customer per day because of your front end. Depends on who's working on the front register, right? So you need to make sure you're gaining those customers and not losing them. The only customers you should lose are the ones you personally fire. And you know what I'm talking about. You know when there's a customer that's not worth your time anymore, they're costing you more money than you're making money, and they're hurting your reputation more than they're building your reputation. Those are the customers you can fire, and hopefully you can work with your corporate management on how to do that. I'll definitely teach you some ways and what's appropriate and how to do it. But again, you should be gaining more customers. You should be gaining loyalty at the front end. You should be really completing the completing the unique in-store experience. And the front end is solely responsible for that, and you as a manager are responsible for execution of that. Thank you for watching this training. Next, we're going to talk about, in the next lesson, back-end management, operations, and then the module after that, sales floor management. Really excited to have you here. Let's keep going. Let's go on to the next lesson. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the conference call. Hopefully you subscribe to the monthly conference call. It's a great way if you have any questions that you just can't figure out the answer to or know how to handle it appropriately. You can email those in to me directly, and I'm going to answer them for you. You'll also have peers on the call, where we'll open it up in some cases where you'll essentially be in the hot seat, and you can have maybe 10 people speak up and give you their feedback based on, and I'll only allow, if you're a store manager, I'll only allow district managers to speak up, and vice versa. If you're a district manager and you're struggling with the store manager, I'm going to have some store managers speak up and tell you exactly how they think they can help you with that situation. So get on our conference calls. I hope you're on there every single week. Look forward to seeing you in the next lesson on back-end management, operations management. Thank you.